U23 Women Single. I don't know who would be U23 Women Single from Kingston. That's what I did want to.
That's gotta be Hey, Reese. Good.
Have you been
Audio's in?
okay? Change of battery. Hello. You guys want to just welcome everybody?
And welcome back to the third day of finals here at the Royal Canadian Henley Regatta. I'm back with you, Ali Zimmerman, and my co-host, Mike Purser. We should have a very exciting day of racing today. We're just wrapping up the last semifinal of the under-17 men's doubles, and we're looking forward to our first final of the afternoon, the senior men's 8 at 2:35.
Yes, today, Ali, we have 22 finals happening for us. It's been a beautiful day, flat water again for the third day for these athletes, and just excellent conditions out there.
Absolutely. We've got our drone camera running right now. You can see the last of the semifinals for those under-17 men's doubles.
Yes, there's been some excellent racing this morning. And with the final day will be tomorrow. People that have racing into this morning's heats will race tomorrow, Sunday, and the final day of the Henley Regatta.
I think something that's really exciting to look forward to this afternoon, we have our dash events. Those are 500-meter races. Really, really fun for the spectators and a lot of fun for the athletes who will be participating in those events later today.
Ali, I'm just really excited about this drone camera that we have up there following the race now. It gives such a beautiful view of the race and the course and how the crews are doing in the race themselves.
It's a really unique perspective and definitely something we haven't seen before at Royal Canadian Henley Regatta.
So again, the first race, the senior men's 8, they had heats yesterday, and there's 6 boats going to start. Our first race starts at 2:35 today, so we're just about 3 minutes from now. The crews will be getting into the gates right now. In lane 1 would be the West Side Development. In lane 2, New York Athletic Club. Lane 3, Mendota. Lane 4, UVic. Lane 5, California, and lane 6, another Mendota crew.
And as you mentioned, these guys would have had to race heats to get into this event, but I know many of these athletes that are in the senior men's 8 also doubled up into other events. So many of them raced yesterday, for example, in the under-23 men's 8 final.
Yes, I had a look at the times from yesterday's heats, Ali, and I'm thinking UVic has a little bit of edge as they finish their race in 5:40, a very good time. And about 4 seconds faster than Mendota, who won their heat in the other heat. So it should be a good final, as all crews are within about 11 seconds of each other, and you can never tell until the final happens who's going to go.
Definitely exciting. I think it's really exciting to see UVic in that big mix. It's a lot of Americans typically showing up in the senior men's sweep events, but good to see some Canadians as well.
And as I say, we're just a minute and a half away from the start of the first the senior men's 8. We should be able to get a shot of the starting gates pretty soon, and the boat's just backing into the gates. There we are. The starting judges will be giving them their instructions, and the coxswains will be getting their boat straight. This is exciting. The 8 races are the most exciting to me, Ali. This is very fast race, and we're expecting some really good race here.
Yeah, I think the 8s are really kind of the marquee event of any regatta, particularly the senior men's 8, because it should be some of the fastest racing of the entire regatta. These guys will be racing for the Hanlon Memorial Challenge Trophy, and I'm sure the name Ned Hanlon's familiar to anybody who's familiar with rowing. It was first dedicated in 1910. Edward Ned Hanlon was Canada's greatest sporting figure of the 19th century. A lightweight, he only weighed 69 kilos, Ned was the professional rowing champion of the world, beating the best in Canada, the United States, England, and Australia. He was also famous for racing on a sliding seat rather than fixed. He defended his title 6 times before he lost it in 1884. Ned lost fewer than a dozen of the estimated 300 races he was in over a variety of distances ranging from a mile to 8 kilometers for prizes ranging from $100 up to $8,000.
And Ali, here we have the boats. They seem to be all lined up. The athletes are reaching out there at the start, so it should happen any second now.
Definitely. In lane 2, we do see Nyack. Last year's winner came from the New York Athletic Club. They won this event in 5 minutes and 43 seconds.
So what the athletes are doing right now, Ali, is they're watching and listening to the instructions from the starter, but they're watching. There's a green light and a red light. When the starter says attention, the red light will show up just behind. We can't see it from our screen, but right behind each shell. And when the green light goes, it's go time.
Absolutely. They'll react just like that, and there they go, out of the gates as quick as possible.
It's a wonderful start. All 8 boats cleanly away, and the umpired boats jumping in right behind to follow the race.
I know I've been in races where sometimes those umpires, they almost can't get up to these guys as quickly as they'd like because the boats take off at such a high rate of speed.
And I think we're looking in the middle of the screen now is UVic right there, Ali,
And
on the left side.
And on their right, or their left, our right, is Mendota in lane 4.
There's a lot of power in these boats, Ali. These guys are trained a long time and they're ready to pull now.
Absolutely. These guys, unlike the lightweights, they really have the advantage of size. They've got big, long arms, tall torsos, big legs, and they'll be trying to put down as many watts as they can on the end of that handle.
This is nice, clean rowing, Ali. This is very clean rowing. You don't see a lot of splashing. They're in, they're out. The blades are in and out clean. And coming up to the first pylon, coming up to the first 500.
Wow, pretty tight across the line.
It looks like California, I think.
Just slightly ahead of UVic.
Ahead of UVic. Maybe with Mendota in lane 4, third across the 500-meter mark. And there you can see all the boats.
Things already starting to separate. You know, that first 500 typically is the fastest 500-meter stretch of the entire 2,000-meter race. They would have flown through the gates well under a minute and a half in that first 100-meter stretch.
And they're moving along. There's still a long way to go in this race, Ali. This is the 700-meter mark now, approximately 700-meter mark. And it's a beautiful, beautiful camera shot and nice, clear picture for our home audience.
Absolutely. There we go, back to the drone. We can really see the field starting to separate a little bit, but it looks pretty tight between...
California.
Yeah.
I think California, UVic, Mendota in lane 3, lane 4 is third right now. Close between New York Athletic Club and Mendota in lane 7.
Even here, you can start to see a little bit of change in course. Looks like California might be coming a little bit close to those portside buoys, getting a little close to UVic.
You can see that in the picture, Ali. These crews are really close, and I think the umpire will be instructing them to move to their right and not interfere. They look a little further away in this shot, so maybe the drone is a little further away than we thought.
For sure. It looks like everybody's having a good, clean, fair race so far.
And they must be coming up to the 1,000-meter mark by now. And here's a shot from, I believe, the 1,500-meter mark.
Yeah, you can see the lane markers indicating who should be in which lane. They'll be crossing the 1,000-meter mark probably just about now.
And California still looks like they have a half a boat over UVic, who are just ahead of Mendota in lane 3, and then New York Athletic Club, 4th place at this point.
At this stretch of the race, it's really motivating when the coxswain looks over her shoulder or his shoulder, and they look across and they see they're up ahead of the other coxswain. They might be looking at a rower. They might even be looking at the bow deck. And that's how they can kind of gauge how far ahead they are or how much distance they have to make up on their competition.
This is a great shot of UVic now making a move on California to try and get back some of that lead that they've taken early in the race. And here, as we come up to the 1,500-meter mark, this is exciting, Ali.
Definitely. UVic, certainly a force to be reckoned with on the Canadian rowing circuit. And I know they go down, maybe not every year, but every few years to the Crew Classic in San Diego.
There's less than the deck, almost a full deck between them, about 9 feet between the first and second place.
This is going to be an exciting finish for anybody who's in the grandstands today.
400 meters to go. And they'll be starting to work on their finish. The rates, the coxswains will start to ask the rate for the crew to take the rates up, and they'll be pushing with everything they have left.
I'd say every boat in this race probably is looking at a speed coach that'll give them an indication of what their split time is. The coxswains will be asking for 1 second faster, 2 seconds faster. How much faster can we get as they approach those red buoys?
Ali, it looks like to me that the Victoria UVic crew has a higher rate and are really going for it here.
I agree with that, Mike. It looks like they're really pushing things on the front end. These guys really want to win this.
And you can see they're into the red buoys now, the last 250 meters of the race. There's probably 15 to 20 strokes left, and they're going with everything they've got.
Wow, here we go. It's going to be a really tight finish between these two crews, and New York Athletic Club not far behind, pushing them on.
Yeah, this is the last 10 strokes, and they're just closing their eyes and going for it here.
This is where the fitness and the training really starts to show up.
Wow, what a great last 500-meter piece from UVic.
I think that would be University of Victoria by a half a boat over California.
With Mendota in lane 4, third. New York Athletic Club, fourth. And Mendota in lane 7, fifth. Westside Development in lane 2, sixth, totally unofficially, but we'll see the results shortly, Ollie.
Definitely, and I mean, some people think that, oh, 500 meters into it, UVic wasn't leading, but look at that, they pulled it off in that finish sprint. 1.67 seconds over California.
Yes, and they were down by a deck at the 1500 and really, really good last 500.
Really great showing from the gentleman from the University of Victoria with their coxswain, Bailey Coleman.
These athletes will be just catching their breath now. They'll be looking. Well, they won't be looking at the camera on this one, Ali. This won't be a photo finish, but they'll be calling the crews into the grandstand, or calling UVic into the grandstand shortly to come and receive their medals. And there's only one medal at Henley, Ali.
Yep, if you win, you get a Henley Gold, and everybody goes home and starts training for next year, really. You can see the flags there on right beside where the podium is, and the flags are totally just lying flat.
Yes, excellent conditions, as we noted, and I see there'll be some of those athletes that know each other. They've been racing each other in different regattas over the years, and they'll be waving at their friends, congratulating them for a good race.
Yeah, I was definitely looking at the draw earlier today, and I thought when you look at all these names of these crews, these are the crews you really expect to see year after year in the senior men's 8 or any senior men's sweeping event.
Well, congratulations to you, Vic. I hope the people watching at home enjoyed that race.
I definitely did.
Here we have a shot, Ali, of the next race in the starting gates, the senior women's straight 4. And you can see on the screen St. Catharines, lane 2, Riverside, lane 3, Calgary, lane 4, Winnipeg, lane 5, Riverside, lane 6, and New York Athletic Club, NYAC, in lane 7.
Sitting in the middle there in lane 4, we have Calgary Rowing Club. These ladies were in the 8 that raced the Remenham Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta this year. They were just eked out by the Great Britain Under-23 national team 8 in the at the regatta there. They also won this event last year in the time of 6 minutes, 50 seconds, really just showing that Calgary is producing some phenomenal senior women's sweeping expertise.
Well, and Ali, just like the last race, I looked at I snuck a peek at yesterday's qualifying times, and Calgary did have the fastest qualifying time, so I'm going to pick them as the favorite in this race. They rode the course in 6:43 to win their heat coming into it. And here's a nice shot of the Henley Island, Ali.
Definitely. These girls as well, they'll be gunning for at least their second gold medal of the regatta. They were members of the senior women's 8 that won for the 3rd year in a row, I believe, on Thursday.
Yes, Calgary, the Calgary Rowing is a very strong program out there now. Mike Simonson is the head coach, and he's starting to develop a lot of top athletes.
I wouldn't discount, we've got Winnipeg sitting in lane 5 as well. All 4 girls competed in the senior women's pair yesterday in 2 different boats. They finished 2nd and 3rd, respectively.
And here we are back at the start, and they're off.
Looks like a nice clean start.
And again, these are straight fours, Ali. There's no coxswain in this boat. These typically the stroke man steers the boat with their foot, which is attached to a rudder behind the fin, which allows them to make small adjustments to the course.
Definitely. And as we expected, Calgary looking very strong, rowing really nicely.
They're on the right-hand side of the screen there in the red and white blades. And then beside them, we can see the Winnipeg crew.
Yeah, as we mentioned, those girls would be experienced sweepers coming out of their experience in the senior women's pair yesterday.
And the Riverside crew, just to the left of the screen now, with New York Athletic Club in the very background.
Riverside coming out of Boston, Massachusetts.
But Ali, I think it's Calgary right now leading this race.
I agree, and as we pan through, we'll see who is leading this race officially as we come through the first 500-meter stretch. Yeah. Mike, I think you're right. It looks like Calgary's got at least 3 seats over Winnipeg.
Yes, and then Riverside in third, and maybe the St. Catharines crew here in fourth.
St. Catharines certainly looking very strong, and I know Steph and Kaylee also raced yesterday in that senior women's pair final, which, you know, the girls who won it, congratulations to them, but everybody behind them, it was a really tight race for second, third, and fourth place.
Yes, almost all the girls in this race would have raced in other events these past few days. They try and take advantage of opportunities to gain that race experience as much as they can. Definitely
something you can gain over the couple of days of racing here at Henley. They'll be racing for the Eddie Durnan Memorial Trophy. Eddie was Canada's last professional sculler of note. He was also a nephew of Ned Hanlon's. Eddie was also a respected boat builder.
There, the crew's a nice shot from the 500-meter pylon looking up, Ali. The crew's just coming into the 1,000 now. I think Calgary up there on the left is just coming off our screen. Still looking strong.
Yeah, Calgary looking really comfortable there, rowing really nicely. You notice that they're reaching out really, really, really long. They're using their height and their length of their arms to the full advantage to get out and around their pin and really make the length of each stroke be really powerful and efficient.
Here we have another shot, Ali. I think this is a shot from the grandstand, zoomed in. Again, rowing very well, nice and clean. Nice long strokes.
A little bit of steering difficulty possibly from New York Athletic Club on the outside lane.
I think this Winnipeg crew is giving them a go, Ali. They're not going to give up easily here. And
absolutely. With Emma Gray sitting in bow seat. Emma, of course, was the flag bearer at the Canada Summer Games for Team Manitoba.
And they're also a nice-looking crew here. Very long strokes, swinging nicely together.
I believe we're going to cut to the grandstands and hear from the winning senior men's 8 crew.
And because I know you guys are all pretty tired, I'm going to ask the Coxie, when did you really start to command that race? We really decided our usual.
No, we're back, Ali. We're back on the race. We're watching the women's 4, the senior women's 4, straight 4, coming into the finish line.
I'm watching the blade work from this Calgary crew, and I noticed every single stroke, it looks like they've got this boat set up on rails. Their blades never touch the water. They look very comfortable rowing together.
No, I was wrong, Ali. We're coming up to the 1,500-meter mark, not the finish line. We're coming up to the 1,500-meter mark. Calgary looks in control of this race, rowing very strong.
Winnipeg definitely gave them a little bit of a push. Let's see if they can come back on them one more time.
And the Calgary crew has open water here. They're still pushing, but they're comfortable, and all they know is now they just have to make no mistakes.
Certainly just trying to maintain their lead at this point with Brianna Walsh, Olivia McMurray, Amelie Schumacher, and Jessie Lutique. That's a powerful crew right there, looking very strong as they approach the last 300 meters to go.
They got to feel good. You got to feel good with 250 meters to go. You have open water on the other crew. You're totally tired, but you're a little bit confident at this point that all you have to do is keep it going.
I think Calgary is really setting out to prove a point that, you know, the Calgary Rowing Club, particularly the women, very, very strong performances this week.
There we see the St. Catharines crew in the left side of the screen there, over in lane 2, and the two leaders in the middle and to the right of the screen, Calgary and Winnipeg.
Nice rowing from all the Canadian crews in this event. Certainly something to be proud of. Winnipeg really trying to crank it up. They're not going to let Calgary take this too easily.
There's a lot of pride in these races, Ali. You know there's only one medal. Athletes don't like to finish in the back of the field.
Definitely.
They push. They push.
I think it's worthwhile to have a great performance right to the end and really cap off your season.
Here we are coming up to the finish line. And as we can see, Winnipeg didn't let go. They're still pushing. They're still hanging on. It's going to be Calgary coming across in lane 4. Looks like Winnipeg would follow them in lane 5. This is unofficial.
Fabulous rowing, and congratulations to Calgary, but those Winnipeg girls should be also pretty excited. They're a young bunch, and to come second in a race like that, that's fantastic.
There's the Riverside crew, lane 6 finishing 3rd. The St. Catharines crew finishing 4th here in lane 2. And Riverside and New York will finish the field. And I'm sure they have lots of racing left.
Absolutely. I know there's lots of events coming up this afternoon. Like I mentioned, the dash events, which typically, you know, I wouldn't say you put too much training into that. It's only 500 meters, but it's a lot of fun to show off your kind of explosive power and speed.
So if you're just joining us, this is Mike Purser and Ali Zimmerman are your commentators for this afternoon at the 135th Royal Canadian Henley. Our shot on the camera now is at the finish line. We've just finished the senior women's straight 4, Calgary winning the race. And we should see the results and the times up on the screen pretty soon. They're pretty exhausted. Nice
congratulations there from bow pair.
It's a special friendship you develop with your crewmates, Ali. You rode in a lot of crews, I know, and the people that train with you, you develop a special friendship.
Yeah, and these girls certainly have put in a lot of hard work. I know they would have started planning and fundraising for their trip to the Henley Royal Regatta in the UK probably months and months, if not a full year in advance. And to really cap off their summer with a couple of Henley Golds, that's pretty exciting. Now, 2,000 meters away at the top of the course, we're probably getting close to aligning the start of the under-23 men's quad. We'll have Penn AC, St. Catharines, Crescent, GMS, Community Rowing, and Hanlon, all competing for a Henley Gold.
Yes, this should be another exciting race. The times were very close, the top times in this race. In this under-23 men's quad, Crescent had the fastest qualifying time, 6:03, a very good time for an under-23 men's quad.